Here we've got the Mercedes G-Wagon. We've outfitted it with a few different LED pods from Diode, front and rear. Show you what we've done here. But to get started, we've got the SS5s. That's the biggest LED pod Diode offers. These are offered individually, but you can also buy like a link kit essentially, and you can make a light bar out of it. I think it looks really good in this configuration. I think a lot of the G-Wagon guys are doing round, like the old school lights, old school auxiliary lights. But if you want a modern solution with a few extra features, which we'll go into in a moment, I think the Diode pod is amazing. This is their largest one. Yeah, these are heavy duty, and they're mounted directly to this factory bar here. Not with the hardware that Diode comes with, but got some different bolts, and they screw right in, and it worked out really, really well. We're using the Diode wiring harnesses and try to kind of neatly hide everything. It wasn't too easy. This is a pretty intensive install, but it all worked out really nicely. We'll show you the output and the features shortly. Now, as the ditch lights, a few different companies make brackets for this make and model. Customer brought in a few different options for ditch lights. We went with this bracket as well as the SS3 pod. This is like the original pod. It's your standard sized LED pod, basically 3-inch. You can change the faceplate. This is what's called the standard bezel. There's also a round bezel, but I think in this case, this makes sense. If you wanted to change it, you could. They make an angled bezel as well. And both of these options, they come in clear or yellow lenses with different optics. So you can actually change out the lens. And same thing for the ditch light. So this is a combo. You can see the flood. And it's basically a mix, so that way it gives you a good, good middle ground for what you're doing. So you can see the ditch lights are angled out. You can set these up however you want. Generally speaking, we'll get them wired up and set up, and the customer can test and tune out in the field essentially, because they're going to need some different requirements. But yellow lenses up top, clear lenses down below. I'll show you how it all looks in just a moment here. All right, we kept it simple. Obviously, you can get a switch panel, you can go hardcore. We've got two basic switches set up here. One is a 3-position switch, the other is a 2-position switch essentially. And the one on the right has the backlight feature on it, okay? We tied both backlights in, and that way you're able to control both of the backlights, and you could have them on individually if you'd like as well. Okay, this is the backlight feature. Now, these are two different products. The SS5 actually has a programmable backlight, meaning if you kind of flip it really fast, you'll cycle through all the colors and you can come up with your own combination for the backlight. We set it on amber because the customer's got some amber accents. You got the factory ambers on the side for the reflectors. This is some sort of different amber running light up top. And I think it just looks good with the amber personally, so I agree with this setup. We've got them set up as amber, but they are programmable simply by flipping the switch. Now, the SS3 pods up top uses a different color lens, so you can see a little bit of different contrast, a little different shade of amber, but it looks really good in person. The camera's picking it up a little bit differently. It's a nice, neat feature to have, and you can run these ambers all the time. They're on a switch. You can wire them up to like a switch power source if you really wanted to, but if you want full functionality and full control, you would essentially wire them up to that Diode switch that comes with their wiring harness, and that gives you that backlight functionality. And again, you can run it all the time. You're not blinding anybody. It's just an accent. It's not meant to be a daytime running light, but it is bright enough to be able to be seen during the day. So I think that looks really cool. It gives it a mean look, and you know that something is done with this, especially this specific model. It's got the lift on it, the larger tires. I mean, this thing is extremely cool, so I think the backlight feature is quite awesome. Okay, I've got the SS5s on. This is the Pro. This is the higher power model because we go big or go home here. I can't even stand directly in front of it. It's honestly just too bright, too blinding. It's not something that you run around with during the day. It's not your eBay bar or eBay pod. You're gonna get blinded. So let's check out the output in the warehouse. Obviously, we're limited on distance. The lights are about 30 feet away. It's got a very direct beam pattern. You can see right in the inside because it is the combo. So you got that flooded light to the sides. Definitely lights up a lot in here. You know, the shop's only about 30 feet wide, so we're not gonna get the full beam spread here. However, you can see how strong it is in the center. You can actually angle the pods out a little bit. I think this is the right way to set it up. Slightly angled in or straight forward, and it gives you a really good punch down the road, but you do illuminate the sides as well. So it's really cool because we got all the lights off in here and it's really dark, but these pods certainly will light up the night. And they've, you know, besides being their largest pod, they are pretty compact, pretty small. You're not running this ginormous light bar. I think for the value and performance they provide, it's quite amazing. All right, these ditch lights, definitely a lot harder to illustrate how effective and good they are because they're pointing to the sides. You can see you got a huge dead zone in the center, and because they're pointed out, you're essentially kind of creating that shadow in front of the vehicle, and you don't have that direct hotspot intensity zone like you do for the SS5 pods, which are meant to go at a distance. This is kind of the complete opposite, and these are your zones essentially. So you can set them up however you'd like. You got a center weighted zone with those SS5s and a kind of a sideways view. Again, it's really hard to see, but they're ditch lights. They're for looking into the sides. They're for being able to see to the extreme corners essentially of your vision. So really cool. Nice yellow output. You can put white on, you know, in the clear lens, whatever you'd like. But that's what we're seeing for the ditch lights. Onto the rear now. We've actually got a pretty cool little surprise back here. Customer provided these brackets for the, I would have had the video set up for this properly, but we ran into a little bit of an issue. Originally, we started with the SSC2 Diode Dynamics pods in the Pro version, but the car just wasn't happy with the CAN bus issue. Ended up needing to switch to the pods, but you know, I'll get into more detail of what's going on. Essentially, one side was the reverse. I believe it was the passenger side, and the driver's side is a rear fog light. Now, the SSC2s have that same backlight running feature, which allows you to essentially have a fog light, and now that goes on to both sides, and both sides turn into a reverse. The factory reverse is just atrocious. It was absolutely terrible. It did nothing. In this setup, you'll see we'll do a little bit of output shot. The output is just quite amazing with the SSC2s, even in the sport version, and they keep the electronics happy. We've got these 3D printed brackets. Guy named Shan on the G forums, try to get his link, and literally it slipped directly into the SSC2 and then it bolted up into it. So had to get back there, remove the stock whole light assembly, slipped in this bracket and the supplied harness. This came out really, really awesome. I love what 3D printing it enables us to do these days, and the products that come out of some of these designers and creators are just so cool. But it's good to see these retrofitted on because you're adding functionality, you're adding practicality, it looks more modern. These are some sort of facelift style taillight assemblies, which look really original. We didn't have anything to do with that, but it just kind of modernizes the whole platform essentially, because this isn't the newest generation, but they all have that same signature look. And this one's got all the, all the upgrades that you would need. So we're going to turn on the setup for you now so you can see what the rear fog light looks like and the reverse. All right, we've got the headlights on, the running lights are on, and that is essentially the rear fog. Is it bright enough to be a fog? Not necessarily, probably. Not like how the Germans make them. They make them super bright and they're usually just on one side. But this is a really cool feature. It integrates that factory fog light switch for the rear. And you can run it as a running light, whatever you want. It's just another set of lights. I think it looks really cool. And the fact is, it's just a built-in backlight on the SSC2. So we'll show you what the reverse looks like in just a moment. All right, we've enabled the reverse feature. This is factory reverse. When you put it in reverse, light will come on. Again, instead of just one side, you got both sides coming on. So you got twice, essentially the opportunity, but you got much more than that in terms of the output. We don't have an output difference for you, but I'll turn off the warehouse lights in a moment so you can see how that looks. So this is the output of the SSC2 Sports. The Pros would have been brighter. The factory reverse was just terrible, so this is a huge upgrade. It's not anything like an SS3 or SS5 that we saw in the front. It doesn't pack that punch. This is flood only, so it's literally just a spillage of light essentially. It's not directed anywhere specifically, so it's not as efficient. But all things being said, it's providing a really useful beam pattern for a reverse light. So I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's pretty awesome that we got some custom 3D printed brackets, and you really got a true upgrade with factory functionality. So pretty awesome. We actually have a clip that we'll show you, put up at the end of this video, but we'll conclude the video there. If you guys have any questions, call us, email us. We're happy to talk lighting with you and see what works best for your needs. A lot of people just do things because they've seen it done somewhere else. But if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, happy to help you out and make a smart decision. And that way you don't have to do this twice, because there's a lot of options on the market. We have access to a lot of different suppliers and we work with different manufacturers. So we'll definitely get you set up with the best. You can come on site, we can wire it up for you, or we can sell you the parts so you can DIY. But yeah, reach out to us, subscribe to the channel. We'll put some live footage on the road from this setup that the customer has supplied. So it'll be really cool to see. But yeah, until next time, thanks guys.